God bless everybody. Today it is October 22nd of 2024, and I wanted to bring this piece of information to your attention. It's coming up on Thursday and Friday, and it's a very specific date of something that happened exactly on this date a year ago. So, what I'm alluding to is, and I hope I'm not going to say this wrong, it's a Shemini Atzeret. And this is extremely important because it is the last day of Sukkot. What that means is it's the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. So when you go in and you click on this link, so last year, Hamas attacked Israel on the very last day of Sukkot. That's extremely important because that's the end of the holy holidays for the Jewish fall feasts. And so when you come down here and actually go look at this, it talks about how it's the last day of Sukkot and it matters, and it does matter because I believe that's probably one of the reasons they picked that very specific date was it was on the last day of God date of the Feast of Tabernacles, and that would be the end of the holy holidays for the Jews of this year. But when you follow the Jewish calendars, it's not on October 7th of 2024. It's on another date. But due to the way the Jewish calendars are set up, and you have a 360-day prophetic calendar, where we use a 365-day calendar in our world, um, things don't line up on the same date. So last year, on October 7th of 2023, the attack of Hamas happened on this very specific day of Shemini Atzeret. So a year later, that would fall on October 24th of 2024 on Thursday. Now, it ends Sukkot, and it also ends on the sunset of Thursday, and so that would end their holy holidays. Okay, this would end the fall feast for the Jewish people. This would end their celebration of their marriage to God and Jesus. This would finalize that process of the spring and fall feast for the year. And then you would go into a Thursday night, Friday after sunset with a potential attack on Iran because you're through the holy holidays. So I just think something's getting ready to happen. Iran or one of their proxies launched a drone towards Netanyahu's residence the other day. I don't know exactly what the extent of the damage is. I haven't been able to keep up with all the different stories, but that would then accelerate, I think, and frustrate Netanyahu because now they're targeting him as he's been targeting all these other leaders and different things like that. This was a failed attempt, and so I don't think that's going to make Netanyahu happy. But I do think that's extremely interesting that we have this Shemini Atzeret on the very year after it happened on October 7th, 2023. So could we see an attack on Thursday, Friday? As we know, Israel is, they got attacked on October 1st, and have had all kinds of different things happening to them since, and they haven't done a retaliatory strike. So I would be very concerned that this would be a window of opportunity that Israel would use. It would be the anniversary of Hamas 1 year later, and so I think that's extremely important. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I think that's extremely profound. It may or may not happen, but it is a date that I think we should be watching, and as a watchman I should be pointing these dates out to you. If it does happen, it's going to be a fairly extensive strike on Iran and its proxies, especially all that's been going on in the last 22 days since Hezbollah launched those 300 and some missiles onto Israel, and then we also see Iran had launched 180 ballistic missiles onto Israel, and now we've seen the drone try to take Netanyahu out, that this is going to accelerate quickly, and it's going to be a fairly severe attack on both Iran and its proxies, to the point they're going to send a message that if they don't stop, Israel's going to have to do something even more radical. But if you know the Middle East and you know these countries, it's about power, and so when one guy does one thing, the other guy has to do the bigger next thing. So this is probably just going to escalate. I just want to bring this to your attention. Keep your eyes open. Be aware of what's happening out here. And you also have on this, oh, this is extremely important. I almost forgot about this. On Thursday, I believe it ends the BRICS meeting. So will we see? Now that's happening starting tomorrow on the 22nd. It's running to the 24th, I believe, based on my information. It's been a while since I've gone out and looked at the actual dates, but I believe that's right. And so you would have the ending of BRICS on the 24th on this very specific date also. So would we see something happen in the financial world where BRICS would come out and say they're going to back this currency and get away from the dollar, and so all those dollars would be sold off through all those countries, and that would come home and hyperinflate us into the ground. So also, just the last note, because these are important things that I should bring to your attention. You saw that uninversion of the 10-year bond. I've talked about this forever. Usually go into a recession about a month or two after that. This uninversion is going to break the banks and governments because it is melting up. The 2 and the 10 are melting up. You've already got the 2-year rate over 4, and they're now talking about the 10-year going back to 5, 6, maybe 7. We'll see where it ends up. We'll end up back in the 1970s when people were paying 18% on their loans. So that is happening right now, and that you would think when Jay Powell cut those rates of 0.5 that would force all these interest rates to go down. But that's not what's happening. You're having a melt up in the markets, and I talked about this. I didn't know where the 2-year was going to end up. I figured between 4 and 5. Okay. But the 10, and it could go to 6, maybe, I don't know where it'll end up exactly. My guess is between 4, maybe 5 on the 2-year, and then the 10 will melt up somewhere between 5 and 6 to 10. Okay, which pushes all your loans into a double-digit category. Okay, so I think that's extremely important. Also, metals have hit all-time highs on gold at over $2,750, and silver is pushing up around $34 to $35. I believe it'll go to 37 or 38. It may have a little pullback before it goes there because it's gone up ballistically in the last few days about $3 to $4, and so this is a fear in the markets, and so your people are moving to safe havens. Also, the VIX is still up around 20. That's a bad sign. Silver, I believe, will X up over gold over time as we move through this phase because silver is a much more needed metal that's used for the electrification process that we're going through now. And so this is going to be a real issue. Also, Bitcoin has gone up close to 70,000, between 68 and 69,000, or maybe a little above 69. I haven't looked at the exact numbers lately. I believe that will parabolically go up over 100,000. The reason I've said this in one of my last financial videos that I did, that it had a cup and handle that was going to form and that you would see this breakout of the resistance, which it has now when it hit around 68,000, and now you're in this zone of, and it's going to drop back down, but it, now that it's broke through that resistance, if it actually punches through and stays above that resistance, you're going to see it go to over 100,000. You're going to have these massive pullbacks though occasionally, because silver is, like silver, it's gone up $3-4. It's going to retrace about 50%. Same thing with Bitcoin. It went up tremendously. It's going to retrace some, but then it's going to go back up again. So it's extremely important that you sort of watch these markets and how they move. But the main reason I wanted to inform you is I think we have an extremely interesting date coming up on October 24th of the Shemini Atzeret, which would be 1 year later from the time of the attack of October 7th of 2023. And you also have the end of BRICS on this very specific day also. So will we see them announce something in their meeting that they're going to make some changes with the dollar? And that would then send us into a nightmare going into election cycle. So God bless, be safe out there. Things are getting ready to break. I've been warning you for some time. It's coming, and Turkey is going to come into this game, because if this happens and Israel does this massive attack on Iran and proxies, Israel or Turkey will come into the game to help the Palestinian and the Lebanese people as we move forward in the next few months. So, and I have him breaking out around January in my Paradigm 2030 chart. So we'll see if that happens as it did in Alexander the Great's period of time. He broke out from Turkey into Syria around January and ended up in Lebanon around March, and he did a siege on Tyre that ended in July. So that's something I'm looking at possibly happening in 2025. So keep your eyes open, be good watchmen out there. Also put your oil in your lamp and get ready. I'm going to give you your date stamp today, this October 22nd of 2024. So that takes you at the end of this day, we're at 1785 days to the Feast of Trumpets of September 10th of 2029, which is my opinion, rapture. You may not agree with that. He has to complete the Shemitah cycle into a marriage cycle. That occurs on the fall feast of 2029, and that date is on September 10th of that year. So God bless, be safe out there, do what's required to get ready. Things are getting ready to break, and sooner or later things are going to be hard to find, and they're going to be extremely expensive as we move into a brutal fourth quarter into the first quarter of this next year, and everything's going to start falling apart as we get into the end of this election cycle. So God bless, be safe out there. Amen.